Hello everybody. Hasn't been very long since I made a video last, but I've actually received quite a bit of stuff in the last week or two, so I decided I'd make another video. And just as a warning, sorry, I do kind of have a cold, so just ignore that, I guess. So, I have all these servers lying around here, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a story on how I got all these, because I stopped getting stuff quite a while ago from a recycling center, as I have previously mentioned quite a few times. But my school is actually changing buildings, and today's Sunday, so 2 days ago was our last day in the old building, and one of my tech teachers had, well, he owns probably about 25 servers, and he found some he didn't want anymore, so over the course of the past week he picked a lot out and gave them to me. So I hauled these things home from school 3 or 4 different days, and yeah, I guess I'll just give a little bit of an overview of all these things. None of them are anything super spectacular, however. In my last video I mentioned one back here, which has a 1.4 gigahertz Pentium 3. Yeah, I mentioned that in my last video, or my second to last video, and that also came from my school. And all these servers have prompted me to start learning about how servers work, and I'm actually realizing the disturbing truth behind how much I don't know about all this stuff. And I'll talk to you a little bit later about all those projects I tried to learn about and implement. But anyway, so yeah, there's that server. And let's see, I'm gonna try to go by chronological order here. That really doesn't make a difference, I guess. This one was one of the first ones I got, like Monday or Tuesday, so let's see. It's kind of pulled apart, which I'm not too concerned about because it appears to be a server case, although it has a workstation motherboard in it. It doesn't have a brand name on the case, so it's custom built clearly. But I can't remember if this thing had a hard drive in it or not. I'll go over that in a little while. Let's see what's motherboard manufacturer. MSI, yes. Looks like it's got socket 478. I don't know what type of CPU it has. I haven't checked yet. AGP4X, 2 DDR memory slots, probably 2 66 MHz max. Judging by the fact that it does take AGP4X rather than 8 because of that slot. Yeah, CD drive. I don't think this had a case siding to it. I can't quite remember. But either way, I'm probably just going to pull this thing apart since this case is a hunk of junk. And yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to sell any workstation in this case. So I might pull the motherboard out. If it works and everything, I might make a machine out of it. If I have a spare case, I'll just sell the motherboard by itself, or just scrap if it's not worth much. But yeah, there's that. There's also this one. I think this one is a similar deal. Yeah, that's another unbranded case, and it has actually has a different motherboard in it. Is it unbranded? Yep. Definitely not a Dell case or anything. This one's got 4 DDR RAM slots. Probably takes ECC only. SCSI controller, video card, 2 processor sockets for Pentium 3s. Was it socket 463, I think? Yeah, I think that's the one. I think it can take pretty much any type of Pentium 3. I think Pentium 3s go up to 1.4 gigahertz, so I don't have any 2 that match though. Well, I do, but they're another server we'll go over in a second. But yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with this thing either. Maybe we'll put it into maybe I will make it a working server, maybe not. Ooh, that's bad. Ooh. Yeah, that's no good. Okay, well maybe not, but I don't have any spare CPUs for this thing, or any spare heat sinks, so it's probably not going to happen. And next, let's see, what did I get next? Next, he gave me, I think, this machine. This was actually a Dell. I ripped the front bezel off it though. I'm taking it apart because I didn't suspect that I might actually want to keep it together, but now that I took a look at it, I might want to do that. I think it had a 1 point, I don't know, 1 or 2 gigahertz Pentium 3. I'm not really sure. 4 sync memory slots. Built-in SCSI. Also a SCSI controller. That's pretty huge. There's built-in memory in it. I'm not gonna take that. It's probably 120 meg or something. It had one CPU in it because of that heat sink. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And let's see. What else? These machines over here. This was one of them. This one had a Pentium 2 in it, I think. Did it have a Pentium 2? Not entirely sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it had a slot style Pentium 2. I think it was dual socket, but only had one CPU, and I'm pretty sure. Pulled the motherboard out of it, the memory. But I decided that's not really worth it to pull the rest of it apart because this thing's held together by, I don't know, the most inefficient design possible and tons and tons and tons of slot screws and everything. I just don't feel like taking it apart for 10 minutes just to get the power supplies out of it. Not worth it. Has no drives in it or anything. And, yeah. I'll go out of chronological order. It doesn't really matter when I got these things. Let's see. This is another unbranded server, but it has a workstation motherboard in it, which is again a little bit weird. AGP4X, DDR memory slots, Protium Max 266 megahertz. I don't know what type of CPU it has, and I don't feel like ripping the heatsink off right now. But it did have a 60GB IDE hard drive right in there. Now I pulled it out and I'm now wiping. I'm going to show you right now. I got my good old gateway. And yeah, I got about an hour and a half left on it. So there's that. Okay, what next? I guess I'll talk about these things. These are two big Dells. Again, I think they're PowerEdge 4400s. They each had Pentium 2 slots in them, I think. And I think one of them had a few, like 8GB SCSI hard drives and stuff, as well as a 36. I pulled all the hard drives out and I'm in the process of trying to figure out how to wipe them and everything, because there's some different types of SCSI, but whatever. Yeah, I just scrapped them, tore the motherboards out, all that, because they're not really worth anything. And all the hard drives I got out of these machines are right here. Actually, not all of them. These are all the SCSI hard drives I got out of these machines. These three have been wiped. I put rails on them and actually put them into this server, which I'll talk about in a moment. But two of them are 8GB. One of them is like 18.4GB. I thought they were all 18.4, so I was a little bit disappointed when I found out that two are 8. And this is the type of SCSI connector they take. But I went to wipe these ones, actually these ones under here. I went to plug them into one of my servers, but I found out that it's a different type of SCSI connector. And that's very puzzling because to compare these two drives, the model numbers are almost identical. They both say 18.4 Ultra 3 U160 SCSI, although they're different connector types, so I thought that was a little bit weird. But I do have a server that takes this connector type, so I can wipe them, like that one right there, and one of the other ones I showed you. Great, my camera's almost out of battery. Gotta buy a new one for this thing. I lost all three of my chargers except for one, but whatever. So yes, there's that. And also, let's see, this one's pretty good over here. This one is another server that has a workstation motherboard in it. It has two 256 meg chips of DDR266. I pronounced that really weird, I'm sorry. One of my friends has put this socket T there for no reason. Yeah, I don't really feel like taking the thermal compound off that just to see what speed it is, so I'll not do that right now. But it's got a PCI to SATA adapter. It actually had two 80 gig SATA hard drives in it. One of which I'm using to set up a gateway computer right now that needed a hard drive. The other one's just lying around. So I'll talk about the gateway desktop I'm setting up right now in a moment. This is the other one, another one of the machines it gave me on Friday, and I took a look at it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing looks pretty cool. But it's a PowerEdge 4400 like the other ones, and there's a key to the back of the case siding, that was lost. So, and it was in locked position, so I took a screwdriver and I basically went on it for a few minutes until the back of the lock just flew off like a freaking bullet, and pulled the side casing off. And there are 8 chips of memory in this thing, but they're all 128 meg chips, so yeah, nothing too great. But it had at least 2 slots. This is a blank slot holder thing. But it had a Pentium 2, I think, or Pentium 3. Yeah, Pentium 3 Xeon. It's huge. It's got a big brass heatsink. I didn't scrap that. I put it in one of my bins and decided to keep it just in case it's worth something. I know what it is. I'll probably end up scrapping it someday, but whatever. But this is another machine I'm just gonna scrap because, you know, 8 memory slots and everything. But, you know, it takes Pentium 3 slot styles and probably doesn't support more than a couple gigs of memory. So I'm just gonna pull this thing apart in a while and scrap it. Let's see, what have I not mentioned? This is a server I mentioned a little bit earlier. Just gonna pull this laptop off the top here. I think I mentioned that laptop in our last video or something. But the server actually isn't so bad. It's nothing spectacular. Just opening up for a sec, hold on. It's got two 1.266 gigahertz Pentium 3s. I put, well, it's below the shop, I think it has 4 memory slots. I put a gigabyte in it, 2 512 chips of sync memory. It's got 5 hard drive bays, a couple power supplies. I might actually use this thing to set it up for something, which I'll discuss in a moment. But I popped these hard drives, there's 3 over there that I said I wiped, into Sang and wiped them and everything. So this computer is perfectly functional and all that. And as you can see, it is rail mount, which is kind of cool. But I might be using it for something, which I'll explain in a little while. But here's the gateway that I said I was setting up. I actually just shut it down because I was installing some updates on it. But this thing's been sitting over in my pile of machines that were here for the longest time, needing a hard drive. It's got a 3 GHz Pentium dual core, which ain't so bad. One of these drives is jammed. I have to replace it. I'm going to have to replace it with that one, which also might be jammed, but I hope not. I put one of those 80 gig SATA drives I found in the server in it, after wiping it, of course. And this is the other 80 gig that was in there. I only have 512 megs of memory in it, but I'm probably going to put a couple gigs total. I might even put like a PCI Express video card in this thing and give it to my friend, just to play Minecraft with, because, you know, he said he might want to. I don't know if he really wants to or not, but he doesn't really have a machine to play anything on, so I might just put like a 256 meg PCI Express card in it. Be like, here, I'll lend this to you so you can play Minecraft, since I do have a Minecraft server running, which I'll talk about in a little while. But yeah, actually, I don't really need to go too far into detail on this. I'm not really going to talk about its setup process. But yeah, one more thing. This is another computer down here that I got Friday from my advisor in school, and it's a 4600. I'm not going to pop it open for you or anything, but it had a 2.4 GHz Pentium 4. I put 2.8 in it. 512 megs of memory, a GeForce MX 440 64 meg video card. I know. One of the drives was jammed, so I replaced it with a light one. And I was going to take it from her on Tuesday, I think, but she said she wanted one of the IT guys at my school to wipe it first, and then she gave it to me. But I came in on Friday, and she said, "Yep, it's all wiped. You can have it now." She wanted the IT guy to wipe it before she would let me have it. But I was trying to do something with it, and I God damn, I stuttered. I tried to do something with it, but I noticed that it began to boot up Windows. And I didn't snoop around in Windows or anything, but the fact that Windows is still on it means that he didn't wipe it. I think he just probably went through and deleted all the files in the recycle bin and emptied the recycle bin. That's not wiping a hard drive, so I don't know. I might talk to her about that. I might say, hey, look, this guy didn't even wipe the hard drive for you. But I did. So I wiped the hard drive and I set up Windows and everything on it. And I actually used something pretty cool to set it up to quicken the process. It's called slipstreaming, but I'll talk about that in a moment. So, actually, since I got all these servers, I decided to fire up my Dell PowerEdge 2600. That's in my basement right now, and it's running a Minecraft and Gmod server. Actually, I'm only a Minecraft server at the moment. But I decided it'd be a fantastic idea to try setting up the server so I can install Windows over the network using PXE boot. I tried to learn about that for a while, but I found out that you need to make the server a DNS server, a DHCP server, and you use Windows distribution services and all that stuff. And I tried to get it all to work, but long story short, it didn't. I kind of just gave up, said, look, I'm going to learn more about this before I just try to go in and do it. So I gave up on that, but in the process of uninstalling the DNS server config in Windows Server 2008, which was running on the thing, it corrupted one of my user accounts, and I eventually just reinstalled Windows and accidentally lost a lot of my server files from the Minecraft server. So my brother and my friends had a world they were working on, which is now lost, because I'm not going to go into it. I copied the files over to a temporary user account desktop, and when I logged out, I deleted all the files. So, but I'm not going to go into details of that. That's more boring than it's worth to talk about. So, I gave up on that idea. But I started. I'm just pointing the camera at this thing. I'll talk about it in a moment. But I decided to try to put Windows XP onto USB drives, because apparently installing from USB is way faster than using CDs, but I couldn't get it. For the life of me, could not get it to work. So I ended up giving up on that. But I did do something pretty cool called slipstreaming, and I took a Windows installation CD, I copied the files to my computer, and used a variety of programs to slipstream Service Pack 3 and a bunch of updates onto the installation files and put them on a couple CDs. This one works. I used it for that 4600 I showed you, and it installed Service Pack 3 and about 2/3 of the updates on it right away, so that speed up the install process quite a bit. This one I just made, it's got Internet Explorer 8 on it, which I haven't fully tested out yet, because Internet Explorer 8 is a pretty big update. It's like, I don't know, it takes like 10 minutes to install, so that'll speed up the process even more. So this is one thing I did actually get to work. So I'm going to be using these CDs for Windows XP Home setup, and I'll probably make a version, and I'll probably do some slipstreaming for Professional as well. Although I already have a Service Pack 3 CD for Professional, so I just end up slipstreaming updates into it. But yeah, that was pretty helpful. It sped up the install process quite a bit, although I was kind of bummed out that the USB trick wouldn't work. But I am trying to clean up in here a little bit, and about 5 hours ago it was a lot messier in here than it is now. But this is a Dell Dimension 3000 I've had for quite some time that's kind of been just sitting around in the corner. And I was going to sell at one point, but it wasn't working, so I decided to boot it up right now and figure out what's wrong with it. Yeah, it seems to be pretty much fine, but it's really slow, and I'm running check disk, and I found a bunch of errors on it, so I'm probably going to have to put a new hard drive in it. The funny thing is I ran check disk and the F parameters, so it actually repaired all the errors. Restarted, I ran it again, and it's finding more errors, so clearly either didn't fix them, or there's more errors. So I'm probably just going to pull the hard drive out of this thing. It's only a 40 gig, and this machine isn't even worth anything, so yep, I'm probably just going to go ahead and, I don't know, maybe pop a new hard drive in it and sell this thing at some point for like 25 bucks profit. But yeah, it's a little bit of a different story. So let's see, I think I'll go ahead and talk about my Power Edge right now. My apologies, I'm going to have to use my phone to record this part of the video, because my video camera ran out of charge and I can't find any of my proper chargers around anywhere. I swear that's a curse on me when it comes to video camera chargers. But anyway, yes, this is my Dell Power Edge. I got a Minecraft server and everything running on it right now, as you can see down there, Minecraft server. But I also have a Gmod server installed. I'm going to have to copy over a lot of the files. And instead of some internet's really slow. Instead of using Steam command to download the game content, I'm going to put my laptop down here. And this is the Ethernet crossover cable I made myself. It was actually straight through cable, but I modified the crossover by putting a new end on it. I'm going to use this to transfer a bunch of the files between my Lenovo laptop and this thing. That'll be all the game content files and everything. And I actually did that a while ago, but since I reinstalled the OS on the server and lost all that other stuff, yeah, it needs to be done all over again. So, yeah, but what I was trying to do was I was trying to set up a DNS server and all that stuff, and it's just a giant pain in my butt. Let's see, if I go to Server Manager, what you can do in Windows Server 2008 is you can assign roles to the server. I don't know why this is taking so long to start up, but okay. Go here, go to roles. You can add roles. Let's see. Add roles. Come on. No, I don't want to restart now. It wants me to finish installing updates before I can do that, but a big window comes up. You can select stuff like, make the server a DNS server, DHCP server, install Windows distribution services and all that stuff, and that's what I was trying to do, but I ultimately gave up on. And that's this entire thing had to do with trying to install Windows on other computers over the network, using PXE boot from the clients, having this thing assign like a domain to those client computers to install Windows on. But yeah, anyway, that's pretty much all I really wanted to mention about this thing. I do have something else to talk about though in this video, which I'm going to mention right now. So this is what else I had to mention. As I was searching for the charger for my camera here, and it is actually charging right now, but this is a charger that's of too low voltage, so I need to let this thing charge for at least 3 hours to get the battery up to the proper voltage before I can use it without it malfunctioning. But anyway, as I was searching for one of its proper chargers in here near the foot of my bed, I found two laptops. This is a Gateway. It's very similar to the Gateway MA6 I think I had for a while, which I'm actually going to sell pretty soon. I've completely forgot about it. I mean, I remember this thing, but pretty much forgot I even had it. It's missing a battery and one of the memory chips though, and the Wi-Fi card door. I don't think it really works. It might though, but that's interesting. And I also forgot about a perfectly functional Compaq Prezero V2000 I have that actually started to set up back in May of last year, which is like 8 months ago. But I forgot about. Actually, no, it's more than 8 months ago. It's like 10 months ago. Anyway, I completely forgot about it. Things in pretty good condition. It's got like a 1.6 gigahertz AMD Sempron Mobile, 512 megs of DDR memory, which might be upgradable. But it's in good condition. Doesn't sound even dirty or anything. I completely forgot about it, and I barely even remembered having this thing. But what I'm doing right now is I'm installing some programs to help me find some drivers, because it's missing the chipset and I think video driver. Yeah, so that was interesting. Completely forgot I had this. So yeah, probably gonna finish setting this thing up, finish updating it, which will take a while, and pop it up on eBay pretty soon. And over here I got my iMac. I started editing my video already. This is the first part of this very same video. I reviewed it, as I usually do, and decided whether or not I wanted to re-record the first part of the video, because in a lot of my videos I do end up re-recording stuff because I decide, I just wasn't really doing a good job. But I looked through most of the footage of the first part of this video and decided to keep it, I guess. Could be better, could be worse, but yeah. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that should conclude this video. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.